Good evening, book lovers. Welcome to episode 22 of Cath-Lit Live. This is your host, Amy Cattapan. You can find me everywhere in social media under my pen name, AJ Cattapan. I am coming to you live from Chicago, where I'm currently praying that the thunderstorm outside does not result in a tornado. We have to cut this interview short. So if you're watching this live, pray along with me that everyone is safe in Chicago, because I did have sirens here about a half hour ago. Well, I am very excited to be back with you all for another episode of Cath-Lit Live. And I am talking with some new authors, new to me at least. I just met them for the first time this evening, a moment before going on air here. And so I'll tell you a little bit about them, and then we'll talk about their book. Oh, but wait, of course, before I forget, I have to mention my sponsor, the Hello Prayer app. If you haven't checked it out, go to go to hello.app/Cath-Lit-Live, and you can get a free 30-day premium trial, hello.app/Cath-Lit-Live. So our guests tonight, two of them, you get two for the price of one tonight. It's actually a married couple. Cassandra and Chris Spellman each dreamed of being published authors, but didn't know that about each other until after they were married. Cassandra's favorite activities besides writing include clogging and reading books to her children. Chris's fascination with dystopian political regimes harkens back to his days studying philosophy at the University of Notre Dame. The couple makes their home in upstate New York, where they seek to raise the next generation of writers, readers, and thinkers. They blog about philosophy, marriage, faith, and literature at spellmanbooks.com. Please help me welcome Cassandra and Chris Spellman. Hello, how are you?
Good, nice to see you. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, I'm so glad to have you both on here. I think this is the first couple I've had on the show.
Oh, is that right?
It's exciting.
Yeah, so congratulations, you're a first on Cath-Lit Live. Okay.
Thank you.
I've just read your bio to everyone. The name of the book is In the Shadows of Freedom, right?
Yes.
And it just released this summer. So tell us, what is your novel about?
So it is a book, it's a dystopian novel set in the near future, and it follows a young woman who is an artist living in New York City, and she is struggling to find her identity in this society where the government is trying to repeal as many laws and regulations as possible in an effort to make the citizens more free. But the question is, what is freedom?
That is a very good question. All right. All right. And I'm assuming if we read, we'll find out how you explore that topic, huh?
Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Perfect. So what inspired you to write this book?
About 12 years ago, I was finishing my master's degree in theology, and I was writing my thesis on St. Teresa of Avila's interior castle with a specific focus on her understanding of evil. So I was really pondering this notion of spiritual journeys, and that when we're trying to draw closer to God, we often face the enemy and different temptations. So this question just popped in my head. What if the forces of evil become much more powerful and on the offensive more? In response, would the forces of good become more powerful, perhaps even visible? So those were kind of the seeds of our novel, this idea of a spiritual journey as well as spiritual battle.
All right, very interesting. All right, now it's dystopian, as you said. I'm a middle school English teacher and a young adult novelist. I haven't written dystopian myself, but I've certainly read a fair amount of young adult dystopian over the years. And I've taught like some of the classic dystopian, you've got your 1984 and your Animal Farm and all of those as well. So how does your book fit into all those classic and maybe the contemporary dystopian novels, and what sets it apart from the rest of them?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad you actually mentioned those titles. I was going to mention a few of those: 1984, Brave New World. I mean, there's so many classics and contemporaries, you say. I think ours is really set apart because the typical dystopian novel tends to be about an oppressive society where there's, think of 1984, very controlling, very, lack of freedom, so to speak, in that sense. Whereas this society is sort of the opposite. They're repealing all the laws. They're making everybody quote unquote free. That there's no more regulations, no more laws, etc. So in our case, it becomes so free that it actually becomes dystopian, and kind of just plays out in a way that maybe is less expected than most dystopian novels I think would come across as.
There's also, I think, another element to, obviously we're focused on this exterior freedom in this particular political climate, but since it's Christian dystopian, we have a big emphasis on interior freedom. And I actually read this quote today from St. John Paul II, and he said, "The Lord is waiting for you to put your freedom in his good hands." And that's really perhaps the biggest obstacle our character is facing, is having the faith to give the Lord her freedom. So, it is dystopian, but this is not a novel of despair. It's a Christian dystopian, and it's really a novel of faith and ultimately even of joy, regardless of what's going on in the exterior picture.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that is definitely a different twist from a lot of what I've read. So what makes this book appealing to Catholic readers? You've mentioned it's Christian dystopian. So tell us a little bit more maybe about the Catholic aspect of it.
Yeah, sure. So our main character was raised in a very strong Catholic family. That's part of her background and history. But when she was 12, she really had this tragic event happen to her, and it led to a crisis of faith. So this novel is really her spiritual journey back to faith, back to God. And in the midst of that, she faces different temptations and the enemy in different forms. So we have that element, but there's also this theme of motherhood. And so we have different allusions to our Blessed Mother, and our character comes to see her as a mother who is loving her and protecting her. And we also have this idea of forgiveness, that, if someone has anger or resentment harboring in his or her soul, you're not going to be free, no matter what's going on with the laws or the government. And so there's this theme of coming to forgiveness that kind of runs throughout it as well.
Yeah, and then, related to that aspect of freedom, it's really this question of, is it freedom from, or is it freedom for? Is it freedom from, not having to do whatever I'm told to do, or is it freedom for, to love, to serve, to be with others, and to ultimately to be with God. So I think, going back to John Paul II again, St. John Paul II, he wrote a lot about this topic of freedom and responsibility. And again, just kind of, you need those two together. You need the Statue of Freedom and the monument of responsibility, so to speak. And those, freedom and responsibility go together. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that sounds like a fascinating topic. I want to throw out one more question, if you don't mind, but I know we did not plan this ahead of time, but so far there's no tornado sirens in the background. So I feel like it's a sign that I should throw in an extra question. What was it like writing together as a couple? What was your process? Since you're my first couple, I feel like I have to ask them. People are going to be mad. Like, why didn't you ask them this? Because I think people want to know, how does that work to write together as a couple?
Yeah, do you want to start?
Yeah, so it was wonderful. It's been a tremendous blessing for us. We began this book at the beginning of our married life, like weeks after we were married, and it's just kind of followed us through our marriage. It's been this beautiful hobby that we've shared together. It's kind of grown as we have grown as a couple, and it's been a wonderful thing to share, to be able to appreciate each other's gifts, which are not the same when we're writing, but they're complementary. And to kind of escape to this world that we created together. It's just been very beautiful. It's been such a blessing for our relationship.
Yeah, and then in terms of just nitty-gritty process, one of us will write a chapter, the other one will edit it. We'll talk about the plot, we'll talk about the overarching themes and what we want to accomplish in this chapter, the section, and kind of just editing each other's work, etc. So that sort of process.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, is one person more the idea person, the other one more the grammarian, or is it a collaboration of ideas?
Chris is definitely more of the grammarian, and he's always correct. I always have the wrong terms of phrases. But when it comes to ideas, it depends. Like, Chris is the outer conflict, the philosophical ideas. I'm more of the interrelational characters, type of thing. So it works, it fits together very nicely.
That's good, because in a good story, you do have both external conflict and internal conflict. So
exactly.
we each have a responsibility there.
Right. Precisely.
And a freedom. Well,
right.
Where can people learn more about you and your books? Where would you like to send them?
Sure. Yeah. So our website is probably the best place to check it out. Spellmanbooks.com. That's SPELLMAN books.com. We also have a Facebook page. We're on Goodreads. We're on Amazon as well. But all of those links are right there on our website.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much, Cassandra and Chris Spellman, for joining me this evening.
Thank you so much, Amy. It's delightful. Thank you. All
right. Take care. All right. We'll wave goodbye to them. Bye. All right, I am very grateful for my very first couple on Cath-Lit Live, and I hope that you enjoyed that interview. If you enjoy dystopian novels, why not go check out their book? The name, again, is In the Shadows of Freedom, so go check it out. Leave them some love on YouTube and Instagram. Like, subscribe, share, all those good things. Don't forget to check out the Hello Prayer app, and I will see you next time. Until then, happy reading, everybody.